Alright. Hello everyone. Hope you're all doing great. Yeah, as you just said, I'll be showing off MediEvil Resurrection today. A remake of the PS1 version. Not the PS4 remake, but a PSP remake. And yeah, that game is pretty, how do you call that? Free in how it remakes this game. Like, this truly just remade a lot of the levels, the gameplay style, and lots of the other things. And yeah, one quick note, the game is on Spanish right now because that is the fastest language as I timed. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I finally timed the languages, and Spanish seems to be the fastest one, so we get to hear some Spanish commentary within the game. And the rest of the run I'll explain as we go, and I would be going ahead and do the countdown then, if that's fine. All right, then 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this game is mainly based around one glitch called the sword glitch, which is powerful enough that it also has its own category on the leaderboards, which means we have a sword right here, and this sword can be used to clip through doors. How? I'll explain in a second. First, I'll go and get a weapon that is supposed to be gotten during the last third of the game, if I don't fail the hitbox. The lava doesn't completely go all the way to the wall, so you can jump into the wall and then run around in it. So you can get the chicken drumsticks, which one-shots any normal enemy, basically anything that isn't a boss. Very useful throughout the entire run, pretty much. And now the sword. You have a light and a strong attack, and if you charge up the light attack, you thrust forward. If you combine that with landing and just regularly dashing, as I've been doing, you can clip through any door or paper thin structure, basically, which usually is only a door. So, as you might already notice, the game doesn't run at the most stable frame rate, which allows us to do this glitch in the first place. We can also use that short thrust and dash to skip over little sections like these. Doesn't always work because this one specifically is pretty precise. But yeah, the main gist of the run is charge attack, dash, and let loose on whatever cliff you're trying to jump over or a door. Now my health is already pretty low because I fell down a few times, so I'll just walk around this. It's not a big deal. And I'll just clip through this door as well. What this allows us to do is, as you might have noticed, it allows us to skip many of the little collectibles within the level to go through the doors regularly. But it also goes as far as even allows us to skip some levels. But that'll happen in like around 10 minutes, so I'll mention that again whenever that happens. The goal of this run basically is to just collect whatever is necessary, because there are a few items that we have to collect throughout the run just to progress the game. And there are also a few weapons we want to collect. You might have seen it in the pre-roll, you'll see it again right here. The top right corner displays a chalice and a percentage counter. The percentage counter rises with each defeated enemy, and you have to defeat almost, if not all, the enemies in a level to get it to 100%. And the chalice is always hidden within a level, which means that if you fulfill both requirements, aka get 100% and get the chalice, you get after the level you get warped into a special place, the Hall of Heroes, which allows us to unlock some weapons. And we only want the first 2 unlockable weapons. There are 20 unlockables, but only the first ones are relevant because it obviously takes time to kill all the enemies, as you might realize, because right now I'm still at 0%, not going out of my way to defeat any enemies. And if I would go and do that, it would need to be for something that is genuinely worth the time. And yeah, as I mentioned, doors don't really exist in this game except for one door. There's one door in this entire run that we haven't figured out yet, just because that one is thicker than all the other ones, and we can go out of bounds on it, but can't go back in bounds. I'll talk about it again when that door comes up, but there's like one last door remaining that we cannot clip through. Alright, so now we're back in the first level. We got the club so we can go into the back part of this level. Quickly dig up on this grave to find the chalice. You see the percentage counter is already at 100% because this enemy is just one hidden enemy. It's supposed to be a little secret because you cannot get this during the first visit. And now we go into the Hall of Heroes.
La Galería de los Héroes, donde los héroes pueden guardar sus paraguas e impermeables.
Something that you might have noticed already, depending on how much you've been listening to the game audio, is that every level has a little introductory line. And it always needs to play out before the level fully loads or before the level starts. It loads the level, then it plays the little joke line or whatever is displayed. And this means that depending on the language and depending on how long that line is, you have different amount of time that you have to wait for it. Which is why we choose Spanish, because it has generally the shortest line, and the ones that are luck dependent, which are Hall of Heroes and one other level later on in the run, are the shortest on Spanish as well. Alright, now this is the other level where we defeat all the enemies, just like in the previous level, to get access to the Hall of Heroes. That was pretty nice. And then we go through this door as well. And now, a little unique, like we can get the camera stuck on this little arc. It's a little precise to then jump into this cage. It doesn't always work because it's a really precise angle, but there we go. Now we're inside this cage and now we just have to jump out of it. This game is really jank thanks to not being optimized very well. The low frame rate is a little bit of a pain to work with sometimes, but it also allows us to just do lots of funky stuff. And okay, I just loaded the next one. It doesn't really matter. I need to kill 4 more enemies to get the percent count out, and that can be done this room. Alright, been rambling for 5 minutes, so just in case if there are any donations, now would be a good time before I get to the next boss.
Oh, there are always donations.
All right.
Raider Monkey sent in $80 and said, enjoying all the cozy laid-back runs tonight. Hooray for another GDQ event, and props to all the runners and all the staff and crew making it happen. Less than 3. Thank you so much, Raider Monkey. We have time for one more?
Yeah, sure. One more is fine.
All right, a Fifth of Scotch sent in $25, says, look forward to AGDQ all year. Every dollar counts to fund the fight against cancer. Plus, a cute kitten overload. Sign me up. And Fifth of Scotch is obviously talking about the incentive that we have for the Goat Simulator run that's coming up pretty soon. The cute kittens overload. It is just what it sounds like. Please get those donations in. Cute kittens? Anyone? Cute kittens?
Kittens are cute. Alright, so we have now started the first of a few bosses that we fight in this game. The Stained Glass Demon. This is probably the only RNG dependent boss because as you see, he has an attack that he can perform after he shoots his little glass shards. And he can either jump around like this, or he can swing at me and throw more glass shards at me. I want him to do the swing because that's the faster attack by far. However, there is no consistent way to manipulate it. So we use the crossbow that we got from 100%ing the previous level, as that deals way more damage than the weapons you find on the side of the arena, those little throwing daggers there. And whenever he reveals his heart, basically whenever he's about to shoot us with the glass shards, we can damage him for a little bit, and every time he reveals his heart, the window for attacking becomes shorter and shorter. The quickest fight would be 5 seconds, which is hopefully what I'm gonna get. It's not too hard to get 5 seconds, but it's also not hard to mess it up, as you have to basically shoot for the entire time and have to shoot as soon as it's revealed. Alright, so funnily enough, you see the glass door in the background. That glass door is actually where the end of the level is, and we can clip into that door. It's very easy to just clip through and completely skip this boss. However, beating this boss gives us the stained glass key, which is the only item that we don't know how to skip yet, which looks like it's theoretically possible, but we haven't found any actual
La
skip for yet.
galería de los héroes, como Valhalla, aunque
And it's also the second and final time that we're going to see the Hall of Heroes, as we get one more weapon that we want to have. Oops, did not mean to touch that guy. And yeah, outside of this weapon, none of the weapons are relevant, because the next relevant weapon would be actually the next one, which would be a long sword. However, the hammer is strong enough, so we don't need anything else.
Regreso al cementerio.
Alright, and this is the level that I was talking about with the door that is too thick. The one door that we cannot pass through, unfortunately. If we do ever get through it, it saves the entire boss fight that I just did, which would be around 2 minutes. But for the time being, we have to use this key to open that door. You can jump around, you can get really, really far out of bounds with very precise sword dashes, but it's currently impossible for us to get back in bounds. Right, and because my health is low, I'll quickly regenerate with one of these fountains. This is another level that is actually a little convoluted, and sometimes a little bit harder for people to figure out what to do exactly. But just as with many other levels, the sword glitch makes short work out of this. Now that we got the hammer, by the way, so now that we've completed 2 levels with 100%, we'll not be doing anything else in the other levels except for potentially collecting a mandatory item, which means these next 3 levels are going to be completely torn apart and played in a way not intended. And wow, okay. Hold on, both levels. Again. Okay, I'll just jump down. There's a little risk to dashing through that door. You can also just jump around it. So it's definitely not mandatory for you to go through that door this way. At least mandatory for us in the speedrun. Generally, they expect you to do that, of course. And also, I guess for everyone who may have either missed it earlier, the reason we glitch through those doors is because we have an attack that we can charge up, which I use to cancel my dashes as well. And if I land from it after a jump, or even just after falling, I don't need to necessarily jump, it just needs to be a falling animation. If I land and then dash and release the charge attack simultaneously, it kind of...
Campos de espantapájaros.
I don't know exactly if it adds the speed or multiplies or whatever, but it combines them in some way, which allows us to clip through thin either gap in the geometry or just clip through thin doors in the first place. And now, one of the only safe notes we do in the run. Usually what would happen if I wouldn't be saving right now is that big machine that you saw on the side. I'll show it real quick. That boy there is something you have to fight for this door to open. But if you, which is very easy to do, if you just save while you hear the door closing animation and then load the save file, it skips the fight. And because we can clip through doors, we don't care that we will be trapped. Very, very convenient to have this sword glitch right here. Now I use the bottom of that box to quickly shorten my hop. You need to hop before you can do the sword glitch. And you don't just use it to clip through doors, you also use it for movement. For example, right here I was able to cut a little corner, cut through the cornfield. And now a bunch of machines that we have to run through, which that won't be showing anything new, so if there's like another donation or two, those can be read out right now.
Oh, there are a few. I have a $25 donation here from Minnie, who says, "Hey Desa, I'm so happy to see you show off one of your runs at GDQ. Good luck, and I hope the dragon fight doesn't bug out."
I hope so as well.
I have another $25 here from Costa Rican, who said, "Have to donate during the only medieval game I could ever get my hands on. Good luck with the run, and I'm sure Sir Daniel Fortesque would vote for the cute kitten overload."
So, we're now in Pumpkin Gorge. You see my health just ran really quickly because this area has two types of enemies, the big pumpkins and the small ones. The small ones are a little devious, as if you just so much as run into them, they explode and deal 15 damage, which is a lot, considering that I only have 200 health in total. So we're using the chicken drumstick I picked up earlier to turn some of these enemies into chickens, as chicken heals us for 55 apiece, and it's a really good way to replenish your health without going out of the way. Especially because that chicken drumstick is going to be very, very useful later in the run anyway, to dispose of many, many enemies that would otherwise be too difficult to fight. And right here you see, by the way, that's the end of the level. We can clip through that door as well, but this is another level similar to the mausoleum that we have to complete semi-normally. We still clip through some of the doors, but not through the last door, because we need the item that can be obtained after killing the Pumpkin King. Which now we're gonna see the first use of the Warhammer. Just like the sword, you can charge up attacks with it, and if you charge up the strong attack, Dan will spin around and slam the hammer into the ground, which allows us to get up to 4 hits in. If I get 4 hits on at least 3 of the attack cycles, or openings that this boss has, then I can get it within 4 cycles. If I miss another one, because I already missed one in the first cycle, I will have to wait for another cycle. That doesn't take that long. So we just wait whenever he tries to summon his minions, and yeah, there we go. I missed 2 of my hits, which is why I didn't get the cycle, but it's fine. Once I get rid of this little pumpkin, I will then be able to finish the fight. There. And you cannot clip out of his arena either. I'm not sure if you really need to defeat this enemy or just start it to obtain the item that we need in this level. And it's not really worth to figure out yet either, because there's no way to clip out of it. But now that we've defeated the Pumpkin King, we can go and progress through the story of this level, which is the Pumpkin Witch, who we would usually talk with first if you would play it casually, who would tell us, hey, there's a big pumpkin ruining my crop, please dispose of him. So we used the talisman we picked up in the 3rd level of the game, which is actually a little interesting in my opinion. This game has a lot of hidden items, or not even hidden items, but some hard to get to items hidden in various locations of even really early levels, and you need them as late as like the 5th last level of the game or something like that, at least for regular story progression. We still have a lot of levels in front of us, but this talisman, for example, was in the 3rd level. There is another location where you can get it, but you would usually get it there, and you need it in this level specifically, as well as the next one that we're going to glitch into. These are the plains of Gallowmere, and they have 4 exits. We came from one side of the mausoleum, we just finished the Scarecrow Fields Pumpkin Gorge side, and now we need to get to the Sleeping Village to unlock this door, but we can also just do this. And now we skip 3 levels. By clipping through that door, you basically softlock yourself into not being able to go back into previous levels, because now the game never set a flag for us being able to traverse here normally. But it doesn't matter because we don't need to go back. So we just clip through the door and skip 3 levels. This clip is a little interesting because the door is too thick to clip through as well. However, lucky for us, the geometry is a little wacky with the roots on the right side of the door, meaning that we can just push ourselves out of bounds that way and dive into the loading trigger. And now we do a little puzzle where we push this button twice and the button on the other side once to unlock the little Anubis stone in the middle, because the main objective of this game is collecting the piece of the Anubis stone to then beat the final boss Zarok. We already collected one in the level after the mausoleum, on the big tower where I dug up the grave. Now we're gonna collect one here, and we're gonna get one more piece. We got one piece from the Pumpkin Witch in the previous level, and Pumpkin Gorge, and this is the 3rd one. There are 4 pieces, but you never have to collect the 4th piece, because the game only checks for 3 pieces, funnily enough. And now we're... oh my god, let me kill... Jesus. And now it's time for the Pools of the Ancient Dead. Probably one of the hardest levels.
No sabías
But
que a los viejos
there's
muertos les
nothing
gustaba el
special
barro, ¿eh?
that happens here, so we
Todo el
can
mundo
go
tiene
for
hobbies,
another donation or
¿sabes?
two. If we have any.
Oh, we absolutely have some. I have a donation here from Mad SGV for $25. It says a small donation to kick off the European morning, and it is early over there right now. Thank you so much for that donation. I have another one here from Homeson for $5 who says, I'm cozy, less than 3, donating for cute kittens in honor of my own cute kitten. And just a little update on that cute kitten overload that we are trying to unlock. We are looking for $10,000 to unlock that incentive. We are sitting at $7,055.29. So do remember that when you are getting your donations in for the Prevent Cancer Foundation, they don't automatically go towards any of our incentives. You do have to select them. So please remember to select cute kittens, because I want to see cute kittens, and you probably do too.
Alright, so I quickly disposed of that little fight because this level has 6 pieces of so-called mecha death that we have to build up so that Death, who we saw at the beginning of the level, doesn't have to do his job. Because currently what we want to do is we want to ask him to give us his vote so that we can progress to the last 2 levels of the game, but he's like, hey, somebody has to do my job, and mecha death has fallen apart, so we just basically collect all the parts so you can rebuild Mechadeath. And that one part I had to collect is hidden behind an ambush. You can skip the ambush, but the skip is so precise that we haven't figured out how it works yet. We've done it like once or twice, like both me and another runner. The more notable glitch hunter in this game, Bobby Kaze, some Jack runners might know him. And yeah, we both haven't been able to figure out a proper skip from that ambush, so we just quickly
Los
end it
muelles
because it's
escorbutos,
not that long.
piratas y contrabandistas a tutiplén, pero
And
no
now,
mucha
one of the
vitamina C.
most interesting levels in this round, in my opinion.
Huele el aire
what's it
fresco
called?
del mar, Dan. En realidad no es tan
I
fresco.
don't know the German
Bueno, al
name
menos
right
las
now.
vistas son buenas. Bienvenido.
Scurvy dogs, right. So this level, no matter if you play glitchless or with glitches, like with the sword glitch that I'm using right now, you can always complete this level in an... Oh my god, let me go through that door. That guy really doesn't want me to glitch through. So whether you play it glitched or glitchless, you can always unintentionally clear this level in a non-intended order, which makes it one of the most interesting levels in the speedrun, in my opinion, because with the sword glitch, of course, we can just clip through all the 700 doors that are in this level. It's not 700, but you know what I mean. But even without the sword glitch, there are some sequence breaks that you can perform just by using the geometry, because they conveniently place the few little holes exactly where we need to go, which means that in an any % no sword glitch run, we would use those poles to traverse through the level backwards, basically. Now we still do the intended order, more or less, except for the fish that I collected at the start. But even glitchless, we would go through it the wrong way around, which is pretty funny in my opinion. Given that this game is usually very rigorous about not letting you go where you aren't supposed to early on. And what we do now is we collect some parts so that we can look the part of a pirate, and then we also go and get a ship. The ship is pretty quick. Funnily enough, the ship only has to spawn. We don't actually have to dispose of the enemies that are on that ship. And we need to go... Usually the ship would get us an item to progress further, but we don't need that item. I'm also gonna go out of my way and do a quick safety strat by collecting this health blast. I've started to skip that in the last few days for record attempts, but given that it's American sitting right now, it's really not worth skipping because it takes just a few seconds. And now we quickly equip the pirate items so that we can ring the Hollow Master bell and quickly end the level. Oops. Which then leads us to the level that one of the nations was talking about. They were talking about the dragon fight glitching out.
No
This
hace
is
mucho tiempo,
the Dragon
las
Island.
islas con dragón se consideraban una buena inversión
There's a little
inmobiliaria.
glitch that I haven't been able to figure out. I've only figured out how to avoid it. And even that I only figured out yesterday after being burned by that for the like 5th or 6th time and be fed up with it. There are 4 little platforms here, and if you can use the dash or the hammer or the club to knock down rocks, and you can hit multiple platforms at once. However, if you knock down multiple platforms at once while also hitting the dragon, because you can basically prematurely attack to make sure that the boulder hits the dragon as soon as it comes out of the hole, if you guess the right hole. You can hit multiple platforms to drop down multiple rocks, which speeds up the process a little bit, but it also runs the risk of glitching out. The game might consider the hole to be closed, so it won't let you activate that platform until a timer has passed. It's really weird, but it just means that I just don't go for a potential time save of risking of saving like half a second per every time where he beats his head in exchange for having no chance of actually glitching out. Personally, I think that's a fair trade, especially because there's a lot of other times that I can get in the game without running the risk of glitching out and having to wait like half a minute. Now we do the little dragon fight. He has 3 attacks: a wing flap attack, a bite attack, and a fire breath attack. We bait the fire breath attack by being in mid-range. And the fire breath attack makes it so that we can hit him very quickly. Now the Haunted Ruins. This is the one level that requires multiple items, so we need the dragon armor that we just got from the dragon boss fight, as well as 3 pieces of the Anubis stone, only 3 not 4, because we would get the 4th one in this level, but this level is probably the one we destroy the most of the sword glitch. Funnily enough, the dragon armor that I just used, we don't need it. You can skip the little lava pool even without the dragon armor. However, the game, because you cannot exit levels once you enter them, the game really wants you to get that dragon armor before you progress into this, because otherwise you'd be soft locked. Which means that we have to get the dragon armor, but we don't actually have to use it. And now we skip from the start level to the end of the level, by the way. That gate is supposed to be the last thing you open, and usually it takes, even in a speedrun, like 2.5-3 minutes to open it. However, the sword glitch doesn't care about doors. Most doors. So we just jump through it, and that's it. Now we use the catapult to yank us all the way over to a little boat that we then use to get to the last level. Which this level is also really interesting because we still do it in the intended order. We have to collect 7 powder kegs to start a cannon that then is supposed to shoot us all the way through to a boss of this level. And we still collect the powder kegs in more or less the intended order, but the way we collect them is obviously not quite, I guess, normal, as we... Oops, I didn't jump. As we just glitch through. Wait, you know what? I actually just realized that... So, I could have just left this area in a different way, but I just realized that I can also go this way. It's not really much slower. Okay, interesting. There's another powder keg, and there's a platform that we have to go on here. And we can actually see the boss right here. It's the little skeleton dude over there. We're not able to clip to him either. We don't know if going to him would already be enough to trigger the fight, but either way, we're not able to clip to him just yet because the boxes, they kind of count as doors, but those are also a little bit too big. And now we're just gonna run through and collect the last 3 powder kegs. We got 4 now, and 3 we're gonna collect on the way back, because we basically start where the level ends and have to make our way through the ship to collect all the powder kegs that are also on the other side of the level. We use this box real quick to give us a little bit of height. Jump over here. This powder keg. And then we're gonna have another powder keg in front of this cannon. right here.
Cajón.
We're
Necesitamos.
gonna use the powder keg and quickly equip the club, because that way we are potentially able to get in early hit in. Very nice. And now this boss fight is basically waiting for him to do his little walking cycle and lighting the cannon whenever he passes by. And yeah, while we're doing that, I think we can go for 2 or 3 donations. This fight does take a minute.
Wonderful. Well, I have a donation here from Jaxler for $25 who says, good luck, Desa. Always hyped to see friends from the medieval speedrun scene get to show off these games. Shoutouts to the medieval Discord. Smiley face. I have another donation here from Puzz for $5. He says, my own cute kitten suddenly got herself cozy in my lap to watch the stream as soon as she saw Sir Daniel. So I am obligated to donate cute kittens in her honor. Thanks to everyone on GDQ staff for all that you do. Thank you so much for your generosity, Puzz. And just a little update for everybody on that cute kitten overload incentive we are trying to unlock. We are looking for $10,000. We are sitting at $7,180.29. So thank you so much, everybody. Donations are coming in, but we only have a couple of hours to unlock this. I would say maybe an hour and a half to unlock this, so we're gonna need some more. Do remember when you are donating to the Prevent Cancer Foundation to click on those incentives.
All right, so as you see, at some point the captain also spawns with little lackeys, but usually if you hit all the cannons as soon as possible, he will only spawn them once. However, I did fail hitting them once. But I guess I just... So usually he's not supposed to be stopping again if you get all the cannon hits, but it's pretty hard to time them all. Also my club broke. Okay, I forgot to get the new one here. And if there's still a lackey outside, he will not actually summon new ones, but just shoot at us. And that concludes this boss, bringing us into the final level, which is also by far the longest level to run. Because this level takes like, I'd say almost 8 minutes. Casually it would take a little longer because these enemies are not easy to fight with the chicken drumstick, so you can just turn them into chicken. And that instantly gets rid of every single one of these. There. It's super fun. It's usually supposed to be a weapon that you get very late into the playthrough after you get the dragon armor even, so after the dragon boss. But because the collision of the lava in that first room is not complete, I guess, like it doesn't extend all the way to the wall, that means that we can just throw chicken at the enemy and instantly dispose of them. However, with these skeletons, once they're all close enough, we can just use the warhammer and quickly defeat them like that. We also leave the chicken around because later on during this level we need some help, as there is one section that requires us to basically sacrifice our own health, so we need some resources on the battlefield to make sure that we can refresh later. That was the first
strats.
Yep,
Sorry, go ahead.
All good. That was the first section where we just defeat 2 waves of enemies. Now we fight against the chariot, which I guess lore-wise, because you see we're a skeleton, lore-wise, this is the guy who got us killed in the past. And now we're basically refighting him, as the final boss has turned him into his own pawn. But this fight is fairly easy because you basically just count for the 6 arrows he shoots, and then you continue counting till 8 in the same rhythm. If you then approach him, he will do his little screech, I guess you could call it, where he is open to attacks. And that allows me to get up to 4 hits in with the warhammer if I get all the attacks. I can miss like, I think it was 3 hits of my total 4-hit combo without losing a cycle. But once I hit a once I miss a 4th hit, I lose it 1 cycle and have to wait for 1 more time of him shooting arrows at me. But this time it worked out fine. Now the second phase of the fight starts, which is arguably even easier, because you just quickly find him, lock onto him, and then you strafe around for, I think it was 9 or 10 arrows, doesn't really matter how many it is, because you just strafe until he charges at you. It also doesn't matter if you get hit or not. because then he will charge at you, and you can jump around like this. He will immediately start screaming again, and you try and get 4 hits in with the charge attack. This phase is a little, like, it's easier in theory, but a little bit harder to be fast because it's harder to get all the hits out fast. And also is not as lenient with the amount of hits you can whip without missing a cycle. You also need to claw grip the PSP really awkwardly to do this properly. But luckily it's manageable because the PSP is not that big of a console. And that's the chariot boss fight. So we have 2 more sections. And the estimate is a little high, but we have only like 3.5 more minutes from this run. So just as a little heads up for whoever runs the timer. I tend to set this estimate a little high because in case I do die in this level, it would be like a 6-minute timer because you'd have to restart from the very beginning. And this section specifically, if I don't pay close enough attention, can cause such an event. So what happens here is we cannot damage the enemies. Lore-wise, those are immortal enemies, and the only thing that can stop an immortal enemy is, well, an immortal soldier himself. So we have 7, well, not immortal, but we have 7 ghost soldiers basically. And with the Anubis stone that we definitely got all 4 pieces of, we can transfer our health to our allies. And that means that we keep them fighting fit, basically. Whenever they turn red, it means they have low health. And we need to make sure that all 7 of them stay alive. Because if only one of them dies, we already lose like 15 seconds. If all of them end up dying, we lose the fight and have to redo the entire level. Which is also why it's important that I leave some health around on the battlefield, because that way I can keep them fighting while healing myself, as if I'm using my own health to heal them, and if my own health would drain to 0, it would also mean that I lose. But this fight's going pretty well. Yeah, at this point, most of the enemies are down, so we're about to be finished with that fight. And then we have the final boss, which takes like about 1.5 minutes, a little less than that. I think 1 more, yep. Nice. Alright. Now they cheer a little bit, and every single one that survived also leaves behind a little health vial, which is very convenient. Not that we really need it, but in case you're low health, you are able to collect it here. So, little fun fact, you see we have a big sword. We don't have it in our inventory because this big sword is automatically given to us by the game for this boss fight specifically, as it deals extra damage to this boss. If I were to unequip it accidentally, I would lose access to that weapon and I would deal much less damage. Which is very nice that we get this weapon for this boss, as usually you would need to complete 14 levels to collect this weapon. It's a really strong weapon, and even used in the 100% speedrun just because of how strong it is. But we don't need to collect it, luckily. So what we want to do is, whenever his tail gets exposed, we attack that, and we charge up and move, and jump up to hit with as many hitboxes of our spinny attack as possible. And now we'll wait for him to spit poison 5 more times, hit his head, because hitting his head will expose his tail right here. And then, once the health is down, the time comes up in a few seconds. Now he retracts his tail, and once the screen fades out, the run is over. So now we just watch him popping over, and time is right now. And that's MediEvil Resurrection. A pretty quick game, honestly, but all the MediEvil games are pretty quick. This was almost 38 minutes, but the other games are, like, the remake on the PS4 is about as fast, and any percent of PS1 is like half the time, because it's just a really, really fast game and really, really broken game.
Very nicely done. Are there any shout outs you want to do?
Yeah, of course. First of all, shout out to the MediEvil community as well. We're a little small as a community and not the most active one necessarily, but it's always nice to see each other being supported like during MediEvil 1 to Resurrection or the remake runs, as all of those are grouped into one community basically. The Resurrection itself only has 2 runs, so would always love to see new people coming into it, as it's a really fun game, honestly. And then shoutouts to friends of mine, the big boys, of course, if any of you are watching. Thanks for watching. Glad you're here. And everyone else, of course. I hope you enjoyed the run. And yeah, that would be it from me. Appreciate being on here, and have fun with the rest of GDQ 2023.
What's up, friends? I hope y'all enjoyed that run of MediEvil Resurrection. Any percent? I want to tell you all about this dono that we got. An amazing donation, $250 from Vikos, who says, I lost one of my cats to fibrosarcoma a couple of years ago, and his sister also had several surgeries for fibrosarcoma tumor removal. This feels like an appropriate time for my donation. I'm putting this $250 towards the Cute Kitten Overload incentive in honor of the late Percival. You were gone too soon, little buddy. And thank you so much for your incredible generosity. I'm so sorry to hear about your sweet kitty. And thank you for putting it towards all of the rest of us being able to see all kinds of cute kittens. Just a little update on that. We are sitting at $7,480 out and 29 cents out of the $10,000 that we need to unlock that. Y'all have been doing an incredible job with those donations. Of course, we still need a few more. You only have one more run to get them in, but what a run it is going to be. Blade 2, any percent new game plus. Now, this game, there were some technical difficulties. We weren't able to get it going earlier, but don't worry, we are trying again. GDQ delivers for you. So get hyped for that. Get hyped for kitties. We have a little break coming up. Maybe a really, really good time to get your donations in for Cute Kitten Overload. We'll be right back. All right, friends, I hope you are all super hyped for this run that we have coming up next, the Blade 2 run. I happen to know that the dev is going to be in there on commentary. This is going to be so hype. Please stick around. You know, if you're thinking of going anywhere, just don't. It's going to be awesome. I saw some questions in the chat about exactly what the cute kittens were for. Now, that incentive, the cute kitten overload, is for the game that we have coming up right after this Blade 2 run. It's for the Goat Simulator run. It's going to happen at the end of the Goat Simulator run. So you all have hour and like 20 minutes to raise those funds to see the cute kittens. We are looking for $10,000. We are sitting at $7,630.29. Those donations are rolling in, but we still have a ways to go, so keep them coming, y'all. I have a donation here from Corrosive Frost for $25 who says, keep up the positivity. Y'all are amazing. You're amazing, Corrosive Frost. Thank you so much for your donation. Now, y'all, bring the hype. Matt is going to play Blade 2 any % new game plus for you.